All right, welcome to another episode of the Mortgage Mix. I am your host, Ralph,
And I am Cherie.
and we're excited to be back with all of you here today. We have a special guest, the one and only David Uppin. He is the Vice President of Education and Strategy with the MBA, or the AKA the Mortgage Bankers Association. Hey, David, how's it going?
Good. How are you? And thank you for
Doing,
having me. This is really
yeah,
exciting.
yeah. Thanks for joining us. Well, we're excited really to talk about education today. It's something that Cherie and I, hold dearly to our hearts. We have a passion around it. For those of you listening to us, you may or may not know we are both CMB certified mortgage bankers with the Mortgage Bankers Association,
Huzzah.
and I'm sure David, that brings a big smile to your face along the way. But actually, David, how many CMBs would you say there are nowadays?
Oh, I would say all told, we are probably over 1,000 at this point right now. It seems to be like a moving needle almost every day, depending on who you ask. But in a given year, and we do never set any goals for how many CMBs we want to graduate in a given year, but I would say in the past few years, we have been averaging about 50 to 60 new CMBs each year, which seems like a really healthy number, allows the MBA team, the sponsors, all of our industry volunteers to pay really close attention and make sure that the candidates are getting the support that they need. But the two prep classes that we run, one in January and one in May, are almost nearly sold out. Really great diversity of students that are coming from different backgrounds. Obviously, the MI companies, National MI being one, huge proponents of the CMB, but also getting compliance, whether that's in-house or outside counsel, loan officers, production, vendor members, servicers. So it is, I think, one of the few areas where such a wide mix of industry talent and backgrounds kind of do come together around a common cause and a common effort. So congrats to you two for being CMBs, and always happy to chat more with anyone who might be interested in the program.
Well, very, very cool. So we thought we'd almost start off a little bit about just sharing a little bit of our story. So Cherie, if you want to kind of kick us off and share, what drove you to get your CMB, and why you think education is such a high priority in what you do each and every day.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It became my COVID project, and I know nobody, it's such a big undertaking to go through this journey, but it's so well worth it. And I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of time that needs to be put into it. But I really pursued the designation because I genuinely wanted to deepen my understanding of the industry, and always looking to learn, always wanting to know more. And especially since such a big part of our job is to be able to bring value to our lender partners. So understanding the challenges that they face and wanting to be able to support them is a big piece of it. It's the highest designation in the industry, which says a lot too. And, it just opens up some incredible networking to be able to meet people in different facets of our industry and really get to know what they do. And then, be able to build those invaluable connections. So it's great. I
Yeah.
have a little story. When we did our second School of Mortgage Banking,
Mm-hmm.
we were all the first, we were in DC, we did it, in person. And the very first night, everybody kind of went back to their hotel room and, did the homework or whatever. And then the next night, I remember Bob Manser was our instructor, and he's like, we're
Yep.
all going out tonight. We're all having fun. And since then, we've had a text message chain that we stay in touch with each other. And when they get promotions and have babies and get married, and everybody stays connected on this. So it's been a lifelong relationship building. It's been wonderful. So people that you
That
can reach out to in our industry.
That's awesome.
that's
Yeah.
awesome, Cherie. Yeah,
And shout out Bob Manser, he's probably in the top 10% in terms of School of Mortgage Banking classes taught and individuals sponsored. So shout out to Bob.
that's
Absolutely.
right. Yeah, so I was not a COVID person. I think I was post-COVID. I decided to go to it. But I think to your point, Cherie, obviously I lead our training team here at National MI, and training is a big passion for me. But for me, I looked at it as a way to almost validate all the knowledge I had picked up along the
Mm,
way in this industry, throughout the years in my time in this industry, but also a chance to, like you mentioned, learn some new things. There's a lot of different areas and segments within our industry I was never exposed to, and this allowed me to kind of learn. I'll kind of give a shout out to my sponsor, Christy Sakumnet, who
awesome.
literally challenged me to learn some of these new things along the way, but also was extremely helpful in making it into the reality of our everyday work. It's not just textbook understanding; it's really about understanding how it works on the day to day. And I think that's the best thing about this program, was that learning piece. And to your point, Cherie, the relationships you get,
Mm.
the people you meet, there's a saying out there that says if you call another CMB, they're going to pick up the phone.
Hmm.
They're always so willing to help you. So that was kind of what drove me to really get to my CMB, certification, if you will, and really excited I did. I'm very thankful that I did. Uh, I think everybody goes through that moment, especially when you're in the prep class where you're like, holy cow, what did I get myself into? But I'm
Yeah.
so glad that I didn't I have a saying, don't psych yourself out, psych yourself up. And I'm glad I didn't let myself get psyched out. And instead I psyched myself up to keep going.
Yeah,
Uh,
Yeah, I
so
definitely.
really like that psych yourself up. And I think it's really healthy every once in a while to put yourself in a room with smarter people and to really push yourself. And it's only going to make you a stronger person. And you don't need to know everything to start your CMB journey. And I think, Ralph,
yes,
you were just talking about that. I mean, you need to have several years of industry experience. You need to have strong industry participation. You need to know your way around and how to navigate. But it is a great way to validate and then to grow at the same time. So, I don't think everyone can be a CMB, but I think anyone should look at themselves as a potential future CMB. And that's kind of how I always approach the program.
yeah.
Absolutely. And I have to,
Well,
if we're giving out flowers in kudos, I have to give a shout out to Justin DeMola. He was my sponsor as well.
That's great. Yeah, Justin's become kind of Mr. CMB, so
Yeah.
he's a tremendous asset to the industry and to the society.
yeah, Mr. Prep class,
Yes,
trivia questions, it almost feels like
Yes.
at the end of every session.
Yeah.
So
Don't call on me.
yeah,
right.
exactly. But let's kind of go from almost like the mountaintop to the ground roots level and the beginning. So I know, David, I participate in the Mortgage Bound program. So
Yep.
if you can share with us, what is Mortgage Bound? Because I think it's an awesome way that we're giving back in our industry, but also a way to get some new talent into the industry. So if you can share a little bit about what Mortgage Bound is, how it came about, and what you're doing with it nowadays.
Yep, absolutely. And thank you for asking. Yeah, and look, by no means are we cracking the atom here, but about 3 years ago, I sat down at the National Advocacy Conference with Christy Furco, with Laura Escobar of Lennar Mortgage, and a couple members of the MBA team. And Christy and Laura just adamantly said we have to do a better job as an industry of training the next generation of mortgage professionals. And kind of my talking points over the years have evolved into we're now going beyond the info sessions of what is a mortgage, what is credit, where we hand out pizzas and 2-liter bottles of soda. This is really the MBA putting our content and our best foot forward, saying we are going to help train individuals so members can more confidently hire green talent and they can onboard these new students without frankly the heartaches and the headaches that come along with hiring new talent. And the company will take these students who are graduating from, right now it's Barry University in South Florida, It's Middle Tennessee State in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, just south of Nashville. It's Cleveland State University in Cleveland, Ohio. They're able to take these students who have, again, going back to validation, who have validated that they're interested in the industry, that they're committed to the industry, and who can walk on the job day one and say, okay, I understand what you're talking about. I understand the difference between an originator and a servicer, really in a way that I don't think has ever been done before. So at Barry University and at Middle Tennessee State University, we do have a 100-hour executive certificate program in single family real estate finance. And when you think of 100 hours, we are going all the way around the sun. We are talking about the entire residential loan life cycle, from origination to compliance to servicing to the capital markets, even talking about quality control and fraud and ethics in the industry. So we're making sure that students are really, really well-rounded and can make informed decisions also about the jobs that they want. And maybe they say, hey, I don't want to be a loan officer, but servicing and customer care and customer support is my passion. I'm going to pursue a job in that arena. So we were making sure that we're giving them exposure to all the areas. In Cleveland, really exciting program. We're actually in our first semester with Cleveland State, where it's a fully accredited undergraduate course that is focused on mortgage origination and processing. And just to be clear, all three programs fully leverage MBA Education's content. They are taught by industry professionals. Ralph, I know you have taught at Barry University, and you're about to teach at Middle Tennessee State University. I don't know how you're in both places at the same time, but you're seemingly able to do it. So taught by industry professionals. At Cleveland State, we have hired the adjunct professor. Her name is Professor Debbie Hoffman, who is from the industry. So this is the industry throwing ourselves at these students, saying, if you kind of go on this journey with us and you're ready to learn mortgage, we're ready to hire you, and we're excited to hire you. So a really exciting program, mortgage banking bound. We are in conversations with schools in Jacksonville, which we know is a production and servicing hub, in Birmingham, Alabama, Dallas, Texas, and then I think we're about to cross the finish line with a school that I'll leave unnamed in Denver, Colorado. So we really are trying to expand where the students are and where the jobs and the members are. So always happy to chat more if anyone wants to reach out to me about how and where and expand to get involved.
I love that. I mean, none of us have grown up saying we wanted to be in the mortgage industry, right? So and we never had these options back then, but it's a great industry to be in. Obviously, we're all still here, and it's great that we're able to recruit new people into our industry. So we have that, and then we also have, you want to talk a little bit about School of Mortgage Banking and Yeah,
absolutely. And look, and it's all coming full circle that the Mortgage Banking Bound program leverages the School of Mortgage Banking content. We obviously put a spin on it to make sure that it's, I almost said toned down, but it's delivered in a way that resonates more with kind of greener, newer talent. And then the School of Mortgage Banking 1, 2, and 3 is what I consider to be the de facto prep course for the Certified Mortgage Banker designation. And much of the CMB test is built around the structure of School of Mortgage Banking. So for those of you who are not familiar with School of Mortgage Banking, I still do consider it the flagship classroom trading program for single family real estate finance. It does have a cousin course on the multifamily sides called School of Multifamily Mortgage Banking. We're not terribly creative with our naming conventions at the MBA, but the School of Mortgage Banking 1, 2, and 3, and the culmination of all three levels does result in your AMP certification. And School 3, for those of you who don't know it, I think it might be the best kept secret at the MBA or within MBA education. It is a computer simulation that pits 6 teams of 6, typically depending on the class size, 6 teams of 6 against each other, and throws various market conditions your way kind of unexpectedly. And it challenges the teams to come together and determine how they respond. And whether they shift market channels, whether they hire more underwriting, whether they go to subservicing or servicing, whether they even service at all, whether they invest in more marketing. And it's the team with the most amount of dollars at the end that kind of quote unquote wins. What you win, Ralph, I'm not quite sure. I think besides bragging rights, but it is a great way for individuals to kind of test their business acumen. And we have done this course numerous times over the years in a private setting. So if you want to bring together your leadership team and kind of put them on teams and see how they perform against each other and have them think through these real life challenges, we do that as well. So School of Mortgage Banking, again, another program that we are extremely proud of and always happy to discuss more.
Well, I think that this industry is a competitive bunch, and
yes,
if bragging rights are good enough. I think the CMB Amazing Race would be a perfect example of that you don't win much, but the bragging rights throughout the years, you can ask Justin DeMola about that. And then I guess you can ask my team about that this year, where bragging rights go a long way.
Yeah. Oh, I love the Amazing Race and what it's become. And it's actually become in terms of just the revenue and the support that we have from the CMBs, we are able to write a check to the Opens Doors Foundation each year. Yeah. So that's a great event. Already started the conversations with our meetings team about where to have it in what will be Las Vegas in October 2025, and also really want to make sure that CMBs are able to attend both the Amazing Race and Empowering You, which I know is also a really important event for a lot of our members. So we are excited, and congrats to the CMBs for making that such a successful day.
You were able to slide that in, Ralph, that you got bragging rights for that. But
yeah, definitely. Well, when David says, don't know what you win, bragging rights is as good as it gets.
It means a lot, right?
It does.
Yes. Yeah. Trust me, we heard for years from Justin and his team how many years they won in a row. So it's all good. That definitely goes a long way. But so David, just from your perspective, you've given us a lot of information, and we thank you for that, as far as CMB, Mortgage Bound, all the things the MBA is doing to bring new talent into the industry. We talked a little bit of School of Mortgage Banking. But if you can just almost give us like a summary of why education is so important when it comes to from the MBA's perspective. It just seems like we're getting more and more things out there and more awareness, which is awesome. We love that. Would just love to hear your mindset of not only why it's become so relevant right now, but also where are you going moving forward?
Yeah, no, totally. Look, I wholeheartedly believe in the power of education. I'm also a big believer in kind of the mix, if you think of the Venn diagram of informal and formal education, and we try to blend both of those together in all of our MBA offerings. Thinking about the Future Leaders Program, which is just kicking off in a couple of weeks at the National Advocacy Conference in Washington, D.C. This is putting you in a room where you're going to learn. But then once that 5 o'clock hour hits, these are lifelong connections that you're going to make. And Cherie, you mentioned this with your text group, that these are going to be connections that you're going to make. And if you're a loan officer, you're going to get paired with a servicer, with a compliance professional, with an MI rep, maybe that you haven't worked before, with a technologist. Those are the kind of learning opportunities that are so hard to come by. And that will just benefit you for years to come. So we always try to have that lifelong learner mindset at MBA Education. I will say we do have 210 plus web-based self-study courses. So if you're not looking to get on a text chain and you just want to get some quick hit information, we still have those kind of asynchronous courses. But if you are really looking to elevate yourself in the industry, you're really to put yourself kind of near the best of the best and maybe the future best of the best, MBA Education has a spot for you, and we're always happy to chat more. We do have an internal metric where I think we train about 85% of our member companies in a given year, and we do have 2,000 member companies. I think last year we trained about 85,000 industry professionals, that is both single family and commercial multifamily. And that, again, that starts from the very fundamentals, the very basics, all the way to the very advanced, whether it's Future Leaders or the CMB program. There's a place for you at MBA. We do know that budgets are tight, that a lot of travel dollars have been cut. So in terms of our scheduling and how we approach the delivery of our courses, we make sure that we're doing asynchronous, live, virtual, in person. we do group discounts. We're able to work with you to make sure that, even in times when budgets are a little bit thinner and tighter, that your staff is able to get what they need. In terms of what's next, we are leaning heavily into AI mortgage training. I know probably people are a little tired of hearing the letters AI, but we have partnered with Tila Matthias at Phoenix Outcomes to deliver an AI mortgage practitioner course. This is going beyond just what is AI and having individuals roll up their sleeves and get dirty with Claude and Gemini and ChatGPT and really understand the use cases for AI and how to apply them into the various aspects of the workplace. And then we are also tapping into a new area within organizations is board members at mortgage companies. So we have launched a series of 11, possibly soon to be 12 training modules to make sure that board members or soon to be board members at member companies have the information they need to manage their fiduciary responsibilities, to manage the kind of the growing risk continuum, and whether that's social governance, whether that's capital markets, servicing, technology risks, whether it's AI, fraud, cybersecurity, kind of really quick hit, impactful training led by the best of the best to make sure that senior leaders and board members are asking the right questions of their team and handling their business in the appropriate manner. So a lot going on. And then we're always happy to hear from member companies and member individuals as to what we can do more of and do better.
David, you brought up a great point. I mean, just with budgets, and you offer so much. There's such great choices in a menu of training that's on the website mba.org. I encourage people to definitely go in and take a look. I just signed up for the town hall with leadership for 100 days in this administration. It's a biweekly call. I encourage you to take a look at that. And then there's so much other training, whether you're a loan officer and want to learn a little bit more about secondary marketing, or if you're a processor and want to understand about servicing, you can do it from the comfort of your own home and just kind of log on for free with a lot of these courses that you're offering. So thank you for that.
Yes, no, thank you for that. And we are trying, and I do encourage you. Thank you for bringing up those town hall calls, because it is making sure that our members are understanding what the MBA is doing inside the Beltway, kind of within these first 100 days. And you'll hear from Bob Brooksman, our CEO, Bill Kilmer, our chief lobbyist, Pete Mills, our head of residential policy, Mike Frattantoni, chief economist, about just everything that is going on. And right now it is a little bit of a proverbial fire hose, but a great opportunity for you to listen in and get your questions answered. I think it was on the last town hall that Bob was a little bit of the kind of the Jim Carrey and Bruce Almighty responding to questions as they came in furiously. But we know there are questions out there. I believe there is an email address for you to submit your questions to, but we'll be offering those every 2 weeks.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Thank
good
you.
stuff. Well, speaking of good stuff, thanks, David, for all the great information and insights you shared with us today and for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Cherie, any final words before we kind of wrap up today's episode?
Just being in the company of two educators in our industry, appreciate it. Makes me feel wicked smart coming from Boston.
Oh my goodness, I picked up on that Boston accent. I love it.
Well, thank you for that, Cherie. And David, thanks again, and thank you for all you do in supporting, all your members, as you said, and just the industry at large. It's always great to speak with you. I know I enjoy our time together whenever we see each other at a conference. As a reminder to our listeners, make sure you subscribe and make sure that you have the most up-to-date information as far as when our next episode rolls out, et cetera. We've got a lot of great content still coming our way this year. So find us on YouTube on National MI, and also make sure to download or subscribe to our podcast, The Mortgage Mix, wherever you subscribe to your podcast. We're available on all the major networks. So with that, on behalf of Cherie and our guest, David Upman, we look forward to hearing and seeing you and hearing from you in the near future. So take care, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.